All right, so the Romanian government has fallen, and I keep getting asked, what exactly does this mean? I have a lot of foreigners, especially in my DMs, being curious because Romania is renowned for being one of the only democrat nations which has decided to protect the people from their own votes because the Russians were dominating us on TikTok. And so, yeah, we managed to not only just cancel an election, but prevent a couple of people, not just one, from competing, which also raises the question if the next election we will also get a vetted list from the Constitutional Court of people we are and aren't allowed to elect. But that's besides the point, right? The reality is that Romania is now internationally renowned for its new way of doing democracy. And so people generally want to know, like, what happened? Why did the government collapse? Well, in order to explain that, I have to explain the players. After the Communist Revolution, there were two major parties that managed to form and last all the way up until now. The first one is the Social Democrats, which are allegedly a left-wing party. The second one are the National Liberals, which are allegedly a right-wing party. In reality, both of these parties do not really have any type of ideology. We're talking about a nation that just came out of communism. They didn't have, like strong thinkers that were able to formulate coherent ideas. Most of the things that we got from the West imported. Other things just managed to exist simply because the politicians managed to grab power through influence and corruption. And so these two parties, the Social Democrats and the National Liberals, in my opinion, they're neither right or left. Sometimes they did have right-wing policies, other times they had left-wing policies. It really depends. The reality is that they are entrenched in the nation because they happen to own some of the mayors. So you go into villages and the mayors will instruct the old ladies how to vote properly. They also have relationship with the clergy, and the priest in very pious societies may tell the public how to vote. Plus a little bit of bribery, like before elections, they would go there with beer and some sausages and ask people, to vote for the ones that remember them. And this is pretty much how politics in Romania have worked. This is up until recently, however, because now you have two new political parties that are actually ideologically inclined. The first one is United We Save Romania, which is very corporate left-leaning, let's put it like this. Like all of the stuff that you see in the West, but toned down a little bit in order to make it more palatable for Eastern Europe. So they are not like fully... let's have gay pride marches in front of children. But they have tried the bullshit with Parent 1 and Parent 2 and tone policing and social justice and all of the other nonsense, right? And so, like, these are legitimately left-leaning people that have an actual ideology. The second one is the Alliance of United Romania, which can also translate into gold, right? This is, our in Romanian means gold. And these are the nationalistic types. During the pandemic, they managed to get a lot of votes simply because they were against the government measures. And they were still for free speech, keeping your businesses open, and so they managed to get a lot of people on board. People that still vote them now simply out of spite and disgust for what the ruling class have done during the pandemic. Now, let's talk a little bit about what happened during the presidential elections, where this guy, Călin Georgescu, almost managed to become president until the Constitutional Court decided that the Russians have completely dominated us on TikTok. And ever since the Romanian election, I noticed that the Russians haven't dominated us on TikTok anymore. Like, maybe they lost interest. I don't know. They're waiting until the next election, I suppose. But as you guys know, the election was cancelled and this guy wasn't allowed to run again. Now, a lot of people were saying that this is due to the European Union putting the global homo regime in Romania. I mean, this was really good for the tabloids. But in reality, what I believe happened, and what many other Romanians believe it actually happened, is that the current ruling parties do not enjoy the fact that they couldn't field a candidate who would reach the last electoral term. So neither the Social Democrats, neither the National Liberals manage to get their man to win the elections. And so they thought, well, why don't we try again? Yeah, what if we actually, instead of going Social Democrats and National Liberals separate, what if we combine our forces and we try again? And so they probably wonder, like, who's backing this guy? Like, if we get rid of him, is anyone getting upset? And the answer is no, nobody cared about him. And this is why they probably were able to do it. Now, again, people think that the European Union did it. Kind of unlikely, because the Constitutional Court is actually named by the people from the Social Democrats and the National Liberals, which also have a vested interest in this guy not running. And so I do think it was more like an internal affair, which is what the previous Romanian President Traian Băsescu agrees with me on. And it's not just him. There's a lot of other people that I respect, and they're political analysts, and they also think that, no, this may have been Romania's own stupidity. It may not be because the European wants it. Does the European Union like that it happened? Of course. I mean, they already have the grift with the Social Democrats and the National Liberals. Like, recreating chains of influence with a brand new guy is costly and a headache. And so the European Union prefers usually continuity if the government doesn't upset much. And the Social Democrats and the National Liberals have never upset the European Union. And so this is probably why the European Union was agreeing with it, and it looked from the outside like the EU is destroying our democracy. In reality, the people have been punishing our democracy consistently. As you can see, the Social Democrats and the National Liberals have not been able to field their guy. And the current president that won is also not from the Social Democrats and the National Liberals. He is also allegedly independent. And so when you have this lack of national support, you have very weak governments, right? And so the current government that was formed was a government that most people didn't want. And when that happens, it usually ends up with the government collapsing, which is what most people do actually want. So what happened? Well, this guy, he inherited a country with a huge economic deficit. Part of the deficit is literally because of the way that Romania has handled the pandemic. They bought way too many vaccines. They shut down businesses. They destroyed actual entire business sectors. They overly regulated. And on top of that, you also have the war with Ukraine and Russia, which, this is not the fault of the Romanian government. It happened because it happened, right? But you still have to deal with it. They also put price caps on electricity. When you put a price cap on electricity, you kind of fuck the entire economy, because what happens when you remove the price cap? How much is electricity worth? Nobody knows how much electricity is worth, because up until now, the price was artificial. The government said you can't sell electricity more than this, and if it costs more to manufacture, we will pay it. And they did, until they stopped. And when they stopped, it's like, well, how much does electricity cost? What is the free market saying? Nobody knows. And so the electric company is going to overprice until people are going to stop using as much electricity, right? They're going to stop, well, I guess not necessarily the household consumer, but like the big businesses. They may start moving outside of Romania. They may start buying their own solar panels. And that's when the electric company goes, aha, okay, so this is how much people are willing to pay. And then they find out the price. But until that point, the price keeps going up. And so Bolojan, this guy, right, the previous prime minister, he inherited a country with deficit and debt. And so he decided to raise taxes. Most people don't like raising taxes, especially when you realize that in Romania, for example, like let's say you make, I don't know, $5,000 a month. Okay, not a lot of Romanians do. But if you work at the IT company, if you work at the, foreign corporation, you can actually make around $5,000 a month. Well, you probably need to pay around $10,000 per year in taxes. And that's only the tax that you see. You also have to pay the sales tax, which is another chunk. You also have to pay for your pension. You also have to pay for your health care, right? So like these aren't optional. You have to pay for them. And a lot of people that do the math realize that when you add all of the taxes, it's kind of like 50% of what you make has to go to the government. And so the question is like, okay, but what am I getting in return? And the answer is jack shit. Like you may get a small pension when you're 75, which is like $50, sorry, not $50, $100 or so. Maybe it's a little bit more. Maybe it's like $200 or $300. But like imagine a person that his entire life has earned around $5,000 a month, now having a pension of $300. In a way that's good, in a way that's bad. It's good because we don't actually have a realistic welfare, so we're not getting to have a lot of foreigners coming here to live off of welfare. They want to go to Germany, they want to go to Poland. Poland doesn't want them, so more of them will go to Germany. But on the other hand, it does feel like theft. Like most people aren't against paying taxes, but when it comes to being literally robbed, like half of what you make gets taken away. And then it's like, okay, so what is the government doing with the money? Well, they're pissing on it. And then how does the government treat the public? With disdain. They cancel elections because the public doesn't know how to vote. They cancel people that would run for the vote, but they don't even have a criminal conviction or anything. It's just like the constitutional court saying, no, we don't like this guy. Right, so if that's the situation, that people cheer when the government collapses. And to be honest, like the government collapsing is not necessarily a bad thing. Bulgaria, for example, had many governments falling. It causes this thing called legislative stability. Because there's no surprise taxes, there's no new things. The welfare itself, well, the welfare isn't working. Who fucking cares? It's like you were getting much welfare anyway. Like when you go to a Romanian hospital, in most cases, depending on where you are, a lot of people go with a bribe. Like literally, you know, the healthcare is free, but they want the doctor to see them early, so like they pay a little bit extra. They require a surgery, they pay a little bit extra under the table. Is that free healthcare? No. Do you pay for it? Yes, every month. And so you can see why some people have had enough of, it's like, oh, the welfare state is collapsing. Let it collapse then, you know. But realistically speaking, the only question is like who gets to govern now? And people are talking about an alliance with George Simeon, with our... I don't fucking care who goes to govern. All I care is like stop fucking with my taxes. Like I'm taxed enough already. You know, stop censoring people, stop fucking with the taxes, and we're cool. We're cool. I will vote for you again if you do that. Just stop fucking with the taxes and stop fucking with the censorship. I don't know if they're going to be able to, because Romanians still have the daddy syndrome. The daddy syndrome is living under communism, and the daddy syndrome is that the government has to provide. It's a little bit different than the Anglospheric type of the daddy syndrome, right? Like the Anglosphere, they want the government to preach morality to them. The Romanians, they want the government to solve their economic problems for them. And usually it ends up badly, right? Now, the European Union is also holding us for ransom. I think like there is like 4 billion euros or some shit like that the previous government was trying to access. And now that the government is being moved, they may not be able to access those funds. Again, I'm actually happy that this is happening, because when the politicians are arguing with each other and they're having factions, they're fucking each other rather than fucking the people. They're still fucking the people, but not as much as they can when they're united. And so seeing politicians having different factions, seeing politicians at each other's throats, that's actually very healthy for a democracy. One of the most sane things that can happen in a democratic state is to have this level of political instability. Again, the moral compass are the journalists. And if the journalists are horrified, then it's a good thing. If the journalists are happy, then it's a bad thing for you and your lifestyle and your living conditions. When the journalists are happy, you're losing money. When the journalists are sad, you're gaining money. Like, if you use this as a moral compass, it's not true 100% of the time. But most of the time, you're going to notice that I'm right. Use the journalists, like the official one, the official sources. If the official sources are concerned, you know that, okay, that is the best thing that can happen for you and your family if it comes to pass. If the official sources are happy, then you know taxes are going to go up, standard of living is going to go down. More regulations, more censorship, more crackdowns. We'll see if I'm right or not. As for the new guy, again, I don't have much faith in in any type of leadership right now, because I don't want anything. This is what most people don't get. It's like, what do you want from the government? Nothing. I don't want anything. Just maintain the way things are. They're already bad, okay? I don't even hope that things can go better. I want them to stay the same so that they don't go worse. So just like keep them the way they are. That's it. That's the only thing I want. Like, I want the guy that does nothing. Does absolutely fucking nothing. That doesn't mean that the country collapses, right? Because like the country still runs on the current legislations. They still run on the current regulations. So like that's what I want. Just consistency. Just stop making new things. Just stop fucking it up. Okay? Notice how when Elon Musk got over X, literally the same happened. Everyone was like, oh my god, you're firing everyone. The platform is going to collapse. No, the platform is still here. It's just like, it can still run without people. It's fine. Just don't add new things. That's the only thing I want. Like, if I hear that this guy comes up with, like, brand new reforms and shit, then I panic. If he shuts the fuck up and just tries to keep his head down, perfect. I'll vote for him again. I don't fucking care about his ideology. No one cares about their ideology. Like what? Is Romania going to start the Fourth Reich in Eastern Europe? No. Okay, well, then I don't fucking care what his ideology is. Stop fucking with the taxes. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.